Live on SportsGrid, we're out here on Radio Row in New Orleans. Kevin Walsh, Raheem Mostert, running back for the Miami Dolphins. He's been in a Super Bowl before. It is Super Bowl week. Raheem, how are we feeling?
Feeling great. It's a great matchup. Two prominent teams that have done exceptionally well this year, and I don't know, man. I want to see who's going to win this thing.
Yeah.
I have a good feeling that both teams can end up losing, right? But it's gonna be a good game. I'm going to be watching for sure.
Now we'll get down to brass tacks, but people probably thinking, "Wow, Kev, that's the best you've looked on air all year." Why am I wearing these? What's the story? You're out here with GoDaddy.
Yeah, so out here we partner with GoDaddy. They have been in hiatus for a while in regards to advertisement for the Super Bowl, and now they're back with their new platform that they just launched coming up. It's called GoDaddy Arrow, and it's AI technology for to get small businesses up and running and help them expand in the small business world. And what we have here is the Walton goggles, Walton Goggins goggles. So they're pretty neat. He's a small business owner that created these goggles, and they're comfortable. They're really comfortable.
They are legitimately very comfortable.
Yeah.
I wear my regular glasses. I put these on. This is a nice little break for me here.
Yeah.
Let's talk some ball, Raheem. So here's my question to you. We're out here in New Orleans. It's pretty nice weather, right? So that would be good weather for the Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
You guys have to be aware, because it's been addressed, when it's freezing, things don't operate as smoothly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's normal. Maybe it's not. I want you to tell me, do you think there is something about your group, led by Tua at the quarterback, Coach Mike McDaniel, where you guys get into those frigid temperatures and it impacts what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I think it's just we try not to think that it's the element factor, right? It's more so a mindset.
Okay.
Our mindset is, hey, we're just going to go out here and try to win the game. And now, being in Miami, you do have the luxury of playing in warm weather at times, but if you think about it, we beat New York and the Jets in cold weather before, so it hasn't really dawned on us the fact that we're playing against really good teams in cold weather. It's just those teams they just had our number that day.
Yeah.
And that's the way that it works out in the NFL.
Yeah, it felt maybe like it was kind of a perfect storm thing, right? I think it's hyper-focused because you do play in Miami, so the weather's always really nice.
Yep.
You play in one of the coldest games of all time last year at Arrowhead, obviously, which I imagine had to be a completely different thing than you've ever experienced weather-wise.
Yeah, no, that was definitely by far the worst conditions I've ever played in, and I played in pretty harsh conditions. Playing out of Purdue,
right?
In Indiana, and going to Iowa, playing in Iowa in the cold, going to Ohio, playing up there.
Yep.
Michigan. Those places are cold, but nothing beat that game, man. I tell you what.
Tell me, for you playing in both Kyle and Mike McDaniel's offenses, Mike kind of comes from the Shanahan tree. What about the way those guys, I guess, are scheming up the run game, create so many opportunities for a player like yourself?
Yeah, it's a run style offense, and we've transitioned and tweaked a couple things in our offense with the Dolphins. Utilizing a little more speed and motions and everything like that. Now, motions go hand in hand with play action and everything like that. So you have to account for all that stuff as a defense, right? But it's just trying to tweak the offense a little bit, and we've been able to do that. Unfortunately, this year was a little bit of a rigid road for us due to some injuries and everything like that, and not clicking on the same pages. But once again, that's just how ball goes, right?
Injuries can dictate a lot, right? And it hit you guys in a tough way. I think you were comfortably over 500 when Tua was out there. It clearly impacted Tyreek. That post game, he's kind of like, I got to get out of here. I'm curious, when you saw that, when you heard that, did you have a reaction?
Yeah, when we finished that game against the Jets, and then we headed to the locker room. I just came out the shower, and one of our media guys gave us a heads up that Tyreek said those words, and for me, I didn't take it personal because I know the type of competitor he is. I I do, however, feel like you shouldn't ever quit on the team. That's just because we're all bleeding out there. But when you're a competitor and you're just so fed up with how the year has gone for yourself and gone for the team and gone for the organization, at some point you do have that breaking point. And I'm not, faulting him for his actions or anything like that. But, he does have a right to feel that way. He does have a right to feel, discouraged about how the season went, how he played. You have – for him, and I've had multiple conversations with him. He's one of my guys. We were texting back and forth this morning when he's coming out here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna grab a dinner or something like that. But he's definitely having those talks with him. He's definitely one of those competitors that just wants to win. He knows what winning looks like. He has a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I don't because I lost to him about it. But he has one of those championship mindsets in him. So you can't fault him for feeling that way.
Can I ask you? I mean, if it's a personal conversation, but have you touched base with him? Does he still want in?
Yeah,
with the Miami Dolphins?
He definitely wants in. He's a competitor. He wants to win. He just
in Miami.
Yeah. He was just fed up at that moment.
Sure.
And just like everybody else was, but they just didn't have the courage to say it like he did.
Right.
And he's a guy that's just truly a competitor.
Okay.
And wants to win.
Yeah. Now I want to ask you about the game against Green Bay, NFC title game. You won for 224 scores, and it's one of those things. I don't know. I probably can't actually imagine what that is like.
Yeah.
Saquon had, a few games this year.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I was nervous, Kev, about that one. I thought he was gonna break the record. I was watching him. I'm like, man, the first two handoffs were touchdowns already, and then his first one he ran for 50, 60 yards.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh my goodness, he's about to break this record.
But for you, and that's awesome to think about. But is there like a moment in a game where you go, ooh, this could be a big game here.
Yeah. When it's something about, when you get that, like for me with that game, I got that first handoff and, I was like, all right, I'm feeling it. And then my first touchdown, it was like a 50-yard, 40, 50-yarder, 30, 40, 50-yard. I can't remember.
36 I was looking at.
Oh, 36. Okay, so yeah. All right. So, the 36-yarder. And at first, I was just trying to get some yards because it was a third and long. We were in field goal range, trying to make it a little bit easier. But once you saw the hole, you're like, okay, yep, it's time to go. Yeah. And then the rest just so happened. We didn't have to pass the ball. We knew that we could take advantage of the run game, and we did that.
I'll get you out on this, Raheem. And again, we're out here in New Orleans. Raheem Mostert, he's with GoDaddy. Do you feel that the season Saquon had, Derrick Henry, some of what we saw from your guys' rush attack, especially I know last year there was a lot of explosive plays, McCaffrey's season, the running back position is about to get re-elevated and start to get a little bit more respect, maybe a couple extra dollars?
Yeah, I've had this conversation with multiple people, and I truly feel like, what's been on display these past couple years, at the running back position, it's only necessary that, our pay increases. I saw a stat the other day that, Saquon is tied for 27th or something like that, highest paid receiver. Yeah. And to imagine the things that he's done this year, I wouldn't say he carried the team, to the Super Bowl, but he's definitely been a very beneficial part and an intricate part in the offense.
Well, I said this to someone the other day, and I'm trying to elevate both parties. Saquon Barkley is as important as Justin Jefferson.
Absolutely.
And I don't even think that people would disagree with
that. Yeah, right? I mean, you can't disagree with that. He's helping the position so much, and he's helping, just like everybody, though. If you look at it now, this league, our position takes the most beating, right? Because we take the most hits, unlike receivers. And that's, you got to do right. You got to do right by the position itself. So it's encouraging to see guys getting their opportunity and raising the position and its value.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, man. Raheem Mostert, out here in New Orleans with GoDaddy. It was an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Kev. I appreciate you, man. Huge fan, brother.
All right, guys.
You look good too, man.
Yeah, I feel great. Feel great.
Yes, sir.